Welcome back. My guest tonight is probably best known for his work on the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act in the Senate. And oh yeah, he also went into space. Senator John Glenn. Senator, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Truly an honor to meet you.
Thank you.
So what does outer space smell like?
You only smell what's inside with you inside. And that's it. As far as outside, you'd be dead if you went outside, so there wouldn't be much smell involved out there.
So it's really just the space suit?
Well, a spacesuit or anytime you have 7 people living in on the last flight, the first flight I was by myself on the first flight back in 1962, or orbital flight. Last flight was in 1998, and there were 7 people in there then. And so cleanliness and taking a bath once in a while means something when you're going to be up there for 9 days. So, but that's all, you talk about these things, and you can't have a shower because the water would just float all over everywhere. So what you do is you take more like a sponge bath, or and that's the way you keep clean. And you have I don't have enough hair to worry about shampoo anymore, but the people that did have there's a sudsless shampoo, and they could work that into their hair and then towel it off, and it works fine. So we had no problem.
Oh, the things we can accomplish.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I was actually surprised to read that in your original flight, when you orbited the Earth 3 times, that only took 5 hours. And it was like 5 miles a second you guys were moving up there.
Yeah.
Now, what does it feel like to go that fast? Can you even tell?
You don't feel, because there's nothing going by you at that kind of speed. You know, if you think about it, if you stand outside here, just on the surface of the Earth here, you're actually traveling at this latitude probably about 600 or 700 miles an hour, just by the rotation of the Earth. But there's nothing going past you at that speed, so you don't really feel that kind of sensation. And up there it's the same thing. You know you're going by because you can look back down at the Earth. On the last flight we were about 350 statute miles up. And so that 5 miles a second gives you you have a good sensation of speed, but it's not too different than looking out of a jet airplane at 40,000 feet, cruising about 600 miles an hour or so.
Back in the days of the space race, who would have won in a street fight, you or Yuri Gagarin?
I don't know. Probably Yuri. I'll give up on that one. All right.
You were a Marine. He was like the Air Force.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yuri was I never met him. I did meet Titov back in those days. And Gagarin was he was the first to orbit. And but he was killed in an airplane crash a few years after that. And I never had a chance to meet him, though. But I'm sure it would have been a friendly meeting. I hope it would have been.
Now, where does less happen? In the far reaches of outer space or in the United States Congress?
Well, I think you've got a lot of activity in both of them, as far as I'm concerned. I know people make a lot of fun about the Congress and things like that, but there is really a lot of activity there. So, in fact, sometimes there's too much activity there. And out in space, the same thing is there. Space is not the void that a lot of people think it is. You have all sorts of rays and cosmic rays and energy bands out there that are, while it's a vacuum as far as the air that we breathe goes, and you have to carry any oxygen or air along with you when you're going out into space, or you die immediately. But and you have to keep pressurization around your body, just like we have here on Earth from the atmosphere. If you suddenly went outside the spacecraft without a suit on to protect you, why the nitrogen in your blood would just boil and you're dead.
Just like that, instantly? Just
like that, yeah. Well, it'd be within a very few seconds, anyway.
Now, when you were in Congress, you were a leader in terms of weapons of mass destruction. You really took the lead on that. Now, is there any way the Republican Party can blame you for the Iraq War?
Well, I don't think so. I've been gone long enough now that the Iraq War came along well after I left there, but they've had a lot of different reasons they gave for the Iraq War, which I don't agree with. The Afghanistan War, yes, that was all justified, but the Iraq War, there are a lot of questions about the sort of tortured logic we used leading up to invading Iraq.
We said for years that it would be an impossible task, and then we went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
Would you have considered wanting to be president now?
Well, it would be tough now. It's tough anytime. That's the hardest job in the world, I guess, is being president, because you have the most different things going on and the most different interest groups trying to get things their way. But But you know, it's a when anyone runs for who is serious about running for president, they have their own ideas about where this country should go in the future, how we should control the economy, what our military should be, what our foreign posture should be. All these are things that you have to consider when you're going to run, and you really have to believe in that your views are going to be best for the country before you have guts enough to really run for president.
Now, in October of 1997, you donated a collection of your archives and your memorabilia to Ohio State. What made you want to do that?
Well, I had a lot of, it goes back many years, I guess. Back when I was a boy growing up down in New Concord, it was the days of the Great Depression, and people didn't throw anything away. And so you got used to saving things like tin foil and grease out of the skillet, fat and things like that you don't think about saving now.
So did you donate some grease fat to Ohio State?
No, not quite. But you got in the habit. The point I was making was you get in the habit of saving things. And all through the years, even I had 23 years in the Marine Corps and then 24 years in the Senate. And during that time period, I saved too many things. And especially out of the Senate years, we had, when we finally got it sorted out a little bit so we didn't just send everything, the things that the National Archives people in Washington recommend we send up here, they're the ones that really suggested this as a center. We had some 1,800 boxes, I think it was, of little standard government packing boxes about that big of Senate documents and correspondence and things like that. And so we sent them up, and they've been going through them over here and archiving all of them and computerizing, cross-referencing them so that people that want to study what it was like in a Senate office during that time period will have some material to run on. And then as a result of that, Gordon Gee, who was president the first time when we were starting this, and we agreed that for an institute in our name to be established here, Institute of Public Service and Public Policy, then that has now developed into our School of Public Affairs here, and we're very proud of it. It's expanding and doing well.
So, well ranked in the United States.
Yeah. Well, we're not up in the top very few yet.
I think it was top 25.
But I think that maybe we're in the top 25, which isn't bad for only having been here as long as we have, a short time. And Dr. Charles Wise, who was number 2 person, I believe it was, at the University of Indiana School of Public Affairs, and that's one of the top schools in the country in that area. And he now heads up our school here and is doing a great job with it.
Now, you had the honor of knowing very well President John F. Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember most about him?
Oh, he was very vibrant, alive, I guess curiosity. He was curious, you know, and that is something I think that is common among most people I've known that I thought were people really of some notable accomplishment, whether in a space program or science or politics or wherever. There are people who are, they're not just channeled in one little bitty area. They're people that have a big curiosity about everything around them.
I like to think I'm very curious.
Good. Well, maybe you're absolutely brilliant then.
Now, when they make the biopic about the life of John Glenn, I think I should play you. How do you feel about that?
Right. I got to talk to some of your buddies first on that one.
I do it tastefully.
All right, good. Be as tasteful as you can with it, please.
Now, you've certainly accomplished a lot in your life. You Marine, you were NASA, Congress, lifelong marriage, being interviewed on my show.
Yeah.
Which one would you consider being the greatest accomplishment in your
mind?
mind?
Oh, the show here, of course.
Oh, definitely.
Of course. But to compare one with the other, they're so different that I really can't say which one would be better than another.
Do you have any big future plans?
I've never been one that believed that your objective in life is to go sit on a porch at the end of life for the last few years. I get more of a kick out of seeing something like this develop here, like our school here.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Senator John Glenn.
Thank you much.
If you are on your porch right now, go outside and do something.
That's right.
We'll be right back.
That's right.